זוהר פרשת במדבר, יום רביעי. רבי שמעון פתח, לדוד לך, עמוני נפשי אשא, אלוה בך בטחתי וגומר. מה כך אמר דוד לסדרה, היי שמך אחי, וכולהו שבחי דאינון באלפביתה. כולהו של ימין, ואחזך דלה אית בוו, ועמי סדורה דל לנפל על הנפין. תחזה רזה אילה ההוא, גניז בחבריה. שרתה לילה על ושרתה, אילנה דתה תליה בי, ואותה פריש שנפוי, יחסיה לקולה, ועדה התחשך, וכל בני עלמא תעמין, תעמא דמותה. Rabbi Shimon asks, when King David, made this psalm, and it's a psalm that we say when we do Tefilah Tapayim, right after the Amidah, and it's done to the Seder of Aleph Bet, so the Aleph, Bet, Gimel, all the letters. But there's the letter Vav that is missing. And even more, there's two other letters that are missing. Those are the letters Bet and Kuf. And also the question, why was this psalm put in this place? Right after the Amidah. Ela tachase, aza ila hu ganiz be chavarya besharta delela al shaleta ila tata betalia be mota parish anpoi mersaya lechola ve'alda itchasha vechol bnei alma ta'amin ta'ama demota. You come and see, there is a big secret here. When the night comes, there is the tree of death, Ilan Amavet, that has dominance on the world, and it spreads his branches. And it also corresponds to the Sephirah Malchut. And at that moment, all the power of the negative forces that are called Mavet, they call death, have also power to act. And all the men that are sleeping are tasting, they say 1/60th of death. והקדים ברנש ויהיב לי פקדונה דנפשי והקדי בידי פקדונה בגין דנצילון ופקדונה תא פקדונה למראה בשרתה דאית ספחה כרתתי ספחה ותב לגבי פקדוני באי לבליך עלי ושביחו כי הוא מהמנה אילאה. And man gives as a guarantee before he sleeps, he says, בידיך אפקידוכי, I give as a guarantee my soul to you. So because his soul is taken as a guarantee, so when morning comes and the man wakes up, so this guarantee is giving back to him. And that's why it's important in the blessings that we do in the morning to do the blessing that says the one that returns the souls to all the dead. לבטח קדם עלי בי וכנשתה טעמה בתורות יפה, התכסה בכיסויית דציסית על עומדי גרמי וקורבנן בקדמיתה. לבטח קביל עלי עול מלכות בסידורה דשבחי דוד דאימון סידורה דעול מלכותה בסידורה דשבחדה אשר עליה הוא עול. לבטח סידורה דצלותה דם יושב וסלותה דם עומד כאשר חלון כחדה. Says then when man gets up and he goes to Bet Knesset, he crowns himself with the tefillin, and he also envelopes himself with the tzitzit, and he goes in and he purifies himself from all the negative force attached to him during the night. And this is done with the korbanot, that is the first part of the Tefilah. Then he accepts what we call the Ol Malchut. What we call that again?
The yoke of heaven.
The yoke of heaven, right? When he does all the Pesukei de Zimra, which are the psalms, and with this, we agree to give him this yoke after he does this the Seder, which is called Beyoshev, which is when we sit down. And this includes the Yotzer and the Shema. And after that, there's the Amidah. And by doing the Amidah, everything is attached together. תחזי חזה דמילה אף על גב דצלותה תליה במילולה דדיבורה בפומה כולה תליה בעיקר דעובדה בקדמיתה ולבטר בדיבורה אלא ההוא דעובדה דעביד ברנש בקדמיתה כגונה דצלותה ההוא ולה יצלה ברנש שלותה עד נתחזה עובדה בקדמיתה כגונה דצלותה. Let's come and see. The secret is that even if the Tefilah is dependent on the words, but in reality it is also dependent on the actions that are done before the Tefilah. And what is those actions? It says when man gets up, it has to push out all the negative husks that attach to all the worlds, the four worlds. And only when he does that he will be able to elevate them. And man cannot pray until he does those actions. And what are those actions? ותקננו בקישור החדה בשמאלה ועל ליבה כמה דקמירה ותחת לראשי וגומך וכתיב סימני כחותם על ליבך כחותם על זוהרך ותאומוה ודאהו עובדה וקניתה. He does first is when he gets up in the morning, he has to clean himself. That means does what he needs to do. And this corresponds to the elimination of the husks of the Olam Asiyah. After, he will put on him the talit, and the talit corresponds to taking out or moving out the husks from the Olam HaYetzirah. The third action will be to put the tefillin on the hand, and this will be to push out those husks from the Olam HaBeriyah. And finally, when he will put the tefillin on his head, right, this will correspond to taking out the negative forces from Olam HaAtzilut. That's why the tefillin are put on the left hand. It's written, Semolot Tachat Choshi, his left under my head. So we see that these four actions correspond to the four levels of the Tefilah. Right? So it's to purify the body, to put on the talit, to put the tefillin on the hand, and then put the ones on the head. So Olam Asiyah, Olam HaYetzirah, Olam HaBeriyah, Olam HaAtzilut. ובתר בשתה דברנש על ליבי כנשתה, וכגרמי בקדמיתה וכאב דמונה דפומה, יקבל עליה היי עול מלכות לפרשה הרשע, משפחי דוד מלכה, כבנה דעובדה דפריש עד רשע, פירושו דמצווה. פתח צלותה דמיושב לקבל תפילה של יד, פתח צלותה דמעומד דהי לקבל תפילה דרשע, ולגאונה דקה עובדה כבונה דדיבורה. ודאי בעובדה מילולה תליה סלותה, ויפגים עובדה מילולה לאשכר אתר דשריה בי, ולביאו סלותה דפגים ההוא ברנש להלה, ואינה נרדה עבודה. So when the man comes in the Bet Knesset, in the synagogue, right, then he has to do the action of speaking of the four corresponding to these four worlds. And it will be at first all the seder of the korbanot that we do, and this is correspond to Olam Asiyah. Then the Sukkot, the Psalms, which correspond to Olam HaYetzirah. Tefilah de Yoshev, when we say the Asher Yatzar, the Yotzer and the Kriyat Shema, the Olam HaBeriyah, and finally to get to the Amidah, which will be Olam HaAtzilut. So we said this four correspond to the four. Now, what are the differences? Before the four actions, we take out the klipot from these four worlds, and at the same time, we say that ma'alim, we bring up we raise in the world in a way the chitzoniut of the four worlds, I mean the exteriority of the four worlds. Now, what the Tefilah does, I mean, when we're speaking, then we are raising the penimiut, the interiority of the four worlds. So, by the korbanot, we're raising the penimiut of Olam Asiyah. With the Pesiket Zimra, the penimiut of Olam Yetzirah. Yoshev and Shema, the penimiut of Olam Beria. And finally, with the Atzilut, the penimiut of Olam Atzilut, and the Amidah. And we also saw that the four actions correspond to these four levels of the Tefilah. And it says, why to the man that does a damage to this Tefilah? That means that he skips one of those steps, because all those are necessary. So if he doesn't do the actions and only the Tefilah, or he does the Tefilah without the actions, then something is missing, as it is written. כי תבואו להראות פניי וגומר. גם תרבו תפילה איני שומע. It is written in Shaya, even if you will do a lot of prayers, I will not come to answer, I will not come to hear it. We're talking about what? About someone that does not do this tefillah as it is supposed to be. In other words, that this tefillah is not done by putting together the ma'aseh v'dibur, the action and the words. These two are needed to make the harmony between these two actions and to repair the interiority and the exteriority of the worlds, so that the tefillah can be raised and do the tikkun that it's supposed to do. Hashem le'olam, amen.